Barabara mtazamaji, ni matumaini yangu kuwa ubuheri wa afya mahali popote ambapo ulipo. Karibu katika kipindi uchaguzi nchini Kenya, ambapo tunaendelea kukufahamisha yote yanayojiri kutoka nchini Kenya kuambatana na uchaguzi uliofanyika Agosti 9 na matukio ambayo yanaendelea kushuhudiwa nchini Kenya kufuatia matangazo yaliyotangazwa na tume ya IEBC kuhusiana na uchaguzi wa urais. Kumbuka hapo jana kumeandaliwa uchaguzi katika wadhifa wa ugavana katika kaunti za Kakamega na Mombasa, na vile vile katika maeneo bunge mane, na zoezi lilikamilika kwa njia iliyo sawa kabisa. Shughuli ya kuhesabu kura ikafanyika usiku kucha, na sasa wakaazi katika kaunti ya Kakamega wanaendelea tukusubiri tume ya uchaguzi na mipaka IEBC iweze kuweka bayana matokeo ambayo yatakuwa yanaashiria ni nani ambaye ameibuka mshindi katika wadhifa huo, japo kuna tetesi kwamba mgombea wa Azimio Fernandes Baraza ndiyo yuko kifua mbele kuambatana na uchaguzi huo. Vile vile kulikuwepo na uchaguzi katika kaunti ya Mombasa, ambako vile vile matokeo ya uchaguzi huo bado haujawekwa wazi, japo mgombea wa Azimio ndiye ambaye anadaiwa kuwa yuko kifua mbele. Na vile vile kuliweza kuandaliwa chaguzi katika maeneo bunge mane, katika maeneo ambayo uchaguzi uliweza kuahirishwa, na tutakuwa tunaangazia yote hayo katika kipindi hiki. Na vile vile tuko naye wakili ambaye atakuwa anatusaidia kuchanganua masuala kuambatana na sheria. Kumbuka leo hii vile vile mida ya saa 5 zikiwa zimesalia takriban dakika 15 hivi, majaji 7 wa mahakama ya upeo watakuwa wanafungua rasmi kikao cha kwanza cha kusikiliza kesi iliyowasilishwa katika mahakama hiyo kuhusiana na kupinga uchaguzi wa urais jinsi tume ya IEBC ilivyokuwa imetangaza. Hivyo basi tutakuwa tunazungumza na wakili ambaye atakuwa anatusaidia katika kupambanua masuala ya kisheria kuambatana na hayo, ila hayo ni ya baadaye. Kwa sasa mtazamaji, hebu nikukaribishe tuandamane kuanzia sasa hadi tamati, na tuanze na kaunti ya Kakamega ambako shughuli imeweza kukamilika, shughuli ya kuhesabu kura, na wakaazi watakuwa wanajua gavana wao ambaye atakuwa anachukua usukani kutoka kwa gavana anayeondoka Wycliffe Mbenza Oparanya kwa takriban saa 1 hivi. Tume hiyo itakuwa tayari kabisa kuweza kutangaza na kuweka bayana ni nani atakuwa anachukua mikoba ya uongozi wa kaunti hiyo kwa takriban miaka 5. Hila kulingana tuna matokeo ambayo tuliweza kupata yalikuwa yanaashiria kwamba mgombea wa Azimio ndani ya chama cha ODM Fernandes Baraza alikuwa kifua mbele na kura 95,979, akifuatwa na Cleophas Malala ambaye alikuwa na kura 75,400. Wengine ambao pia wako katika kinyang'anyiro hicho ni pamoja na Cyrus Jirongo, mbunge wa zamani wa eneo bunge la Lugari, akiwa na kura 1,571. Vile vile tuko naye Suleiman Sumba ambaye alikuwa anagombea kupitia chama cha KANU akiwa na kura 472. Tuko naye Michael Osundwa ambaye alikuwa amepata kura 456. Tuko naye Samuel Omkoko ambaye alikuwa amepata kura 396, na mwisho kabisa Austin Opiso ambaye alikuwa amejizolea kura 79. Kumbuka mtazamaji, hayo si matokeo ya hivi punde. Tunasubiri tu tume ya IEBC iweze kutangaza matokeo rasmi kulingana na kaunti zote 12 za kaunti ya Kakamega. Ila kuna maeneo bunge kama Likuyani ambako jinsi unavyofahamu kwamba kinyang'anyiro kilikuwa kikali baina ya Cleophas Malala wa chama cha ANC ndani ya muungano wa Kenya Kwanza, ambaye alikuwa amefanikiwa kupata kura 918, na mpinzani wake mkuu Fernandes Baraza wa ODM ndani ya muungano wa Azimio la Umoja akiwa na kura 18,197. Hiyo ni eneo bunge la Likuyani. Katika eneo bunge la Lugari Fernandes alikuwa na kura 20,280, huku Cleophas Malala akiwa na kura 13,331. Kumbuka kaunti ya Kakamega iko na maeneo bunge takriban 12. Na tukiachana na hayo na kusonga mbele ni kuwa katika kaunti ya Mombasa ambako vile vile kulikuwa kumeandaliwa uchaguzi wa ugavana. Kumbuka kaunti hizi mbili tume ya IEBC iliweza kuahirisha uchaguzi wa ugavana wakisema kwamba zile karatasi za upiga kura zilikuwa na dosari. Katika kaunti ya Mombasa hususan katika eneo bunge la Nyali, Ezron Awiti Bolo alikuwa amejizolea kura 267. Hassan Omar Sarai wa UDA ndani ya Kenya Kwanza alikuwa amejizolea kura 21,580. Tuko naye William Kingi ambaye ndiye naibu gavana wa kaunti hiyo wa sasa na alikuwa anawania kupitia chama cha PA akiwa amepata kura 186. Tuko naye Daniel Munga Kisau wa ambaye ni alikuwa mgombea wa kujitegemea, mgombea huru akiwa na kura 59. Tuko naye Shafi Makanzi mwaniaji vile vile huru akiwa na kura 121. Tuko naye Abdulsomad Sharif Nasir ambaye ni wa ODM ndani ya muungano wa Azimio ambaye alikuwa kifua mbele na kura 22,387. Na hatimaye tuko naye Said Omar Abdalla ambaye alikuwa amejipatia kura 64. Kumbuka mtazamaji, jinsi nilivyokuwa nimekuarifu ni kwamba haya ni matokeo tu ya awali na tume ya IEBC inatarajiwa kuweza kuweka wazi matokeo rasmi ya tume hiyo katika kinyang'anyiro hicho cha ugavana. Japo kwa sasa hebu tusikize mbunge wa Kisauni Rashid Bedzimba alikuwa na yapi ya kusema kuhusiana na kipute hicho.
Munga votes 59 votes. Kile ambacho kimeungana nami katika eneo bunge la Kisauni na Mungu ametupa mafanikio na tunashukuru. Tumepata gavana wa jiji la Mombasa. Kikubwa na washukuru kwa amani kubwa iliyotanda katika siku ya leo. Kwa haya mengi na washukuru.
Naam, huyo ni mbunge wa Kisauni akizungumzia kuhusiana na matokeo na matukio yaliyoshuhudiwa katika uchaguzi wa Mombasa katika wadhifa wa ugavana. Kumbuka ni wadhifa ambao au ni kinyang'anyiro ambacho kimekuwa kikali kati ya wagombea wawili kwa maana ya Hassan Omar Sarai wa muungano wa Kenya Kwanza dhidi ya mpinzani wake mkuu Abdulsomad Nasir ambaye ni wa ODM ndani ya muungano wa Kenya Kwanza. Hebu sasa mtazamaji niweze tu kufahamisha baadhi ya maeneo bunge ambayo yaliweza kushiriki katika uchaguzi huo wa ugavana kaunti ya Mombasa. Tuko na eneo bunge la Mvita. Eneo bunge la Mvita ambapo matokeo ya mwisho katika eneo bunge hilo inaonyesha kwamba Abdulsomad Sharif aliweza kuibuka mshindi na kura 24,106. Tuko naye Hassan Omar ambaye aliweza kuridhika na kura 19,086. Tuko naye Awiti Bolo akipata kura 102. Tuko naye William Kazungu ambaye aliweza kupata kura 84. Tuko naye Daniel Munga akipata kura 61 na Mwaganda Makanzi akipata kura 82. Mwisho kabisa Said Abdalla akiwa na kura 49. Jumla ya kura ambazo ziliweza kupigwa ni 43,910 25. Katika eneo bunge la Jomvu, Abdulswamad Sharif wa ODM alipata kura 15628. Hassan Omar Sarai wa UDA akipata kura 11088. Awiti Bolo akiweza kupata kura 127. Tuko naye Shafi Makanzi na vile vile Kisau Munga, wote wakipata kura 40. Tuko na eneo bunge la Changamwe ambapo Hassan Omar Sarai wa UDA alipata kura 15898. Abdulswamad Nasir akipata kura 17740. Ezron Awiti akipata kura 105 na William Kingi wa PA akipata kura 63. Daniel Kisau mgombea huru akipata kura 21. Shafi Makanzi akipata kura 74 na mwisho Omar Said Abdalla wa Usawa akipata kura 47. Mtazamaji, na kumbuka katika uchaguzi huu, hususan uchaguzi wa Kakamega, katibu mkuu wa muungano wa wafanyikazi KOTU Francis Atwoli aliweza kuwataka viongozi wa kisiasa kutowatenganisha Wakenya kwa misingi za kikabila. Atwoli ambaye aliyasema hayo baada yake kushiriki katika zoezi hilo, amewataka watakao toa uongozi wa kitaifa kuiunganisha taifa la Kenya. Tazama.
Because the Kakamega people have been waiting for this day, and two, I think the politicians, candidates have already done a very good job in organizing, and their supporters will be turning up in large numbers. Though I'm 100% sure that my candidate, who is Ferdinand Barasa, is taking the day. What I want to tell most of political parties, including the Kenya Kwanza, Azimio and other political parties, is that they must respect the international covenant on civil and political rights as stipulated in the UN Charter. Because you see people are campaigning, threatening people, telling people that if you don't vote for us, the government-elect will not be able to serve you or will not be able to serve this area or that area. That is not what the United Nations Charter for Democracy and human rights, basic human rights and
Na mtazamaji, huyo ni katibu mkuu wa muungano wa wafanyikazi nchini Kenya Francis Atwoli akizungumzia kuhusiana na masuala ya uongozi nchini Kenya. Sasa hebu tuangazie maeneo bunge ambayo kuliweza kufanyika uchaguzi hiyo jana, na tayari wameweza kupata washindi na washindwa katika kinyang'anyiro katika maeneo hayo mbalimbali nchini Kenya. Kumbuka kuliweza kufanyika uchaguzi katika eneo bunge la Kacheliba ambako mshindi ameweza kupatikana na akiwa ni Titus Alote ambaye aliweza kuibuka mshindi na kura 20,073. Kumbuka huyu alikuwa anawania katika kiti katika chama cha KUP. Wa pili katika kinyang'anyiro hicho alikuwa ni Mark Lomonokol ambaye aliweza kuibuka wa pili na kura 17,963. Huyu alikuwa ni mgombea wa chama cha UDA ndani ya muungano wa Kenya Kwanza. Vile vile tulikuwa naye John Lodinyo ambaye alikuwa anawania kupitia chama cha KANU akiweza kuibuka watatu na kura 1346. Huyu alikuwa anawania katika chama cha KANU. Tuelekee katika eneo bunge la Rongai katika kaunti ya Nakuru. Aliyeibuka kidedea ni Paul Chebor wa chama cha UDA ambaye aliweza kujipatia kura 27,021 akiweza kumbwaga mbunge wa sasa ambaye ni kigogo wa kisiasa. Amekuwa mbunge wa eneo hilo kwa miaka kadhaa, Raymond Moi, mwanawe rais mstaafu marehemu Daniel Toroitich arap Moi ambaye aliweza kupata kura 14,715. Alafu tuko naye Luka Kigen wa chama cha Mashinani ambaye aliweza kujizolea kura 593. hebu tuangalie tuelekee katika eneo bunge la Pokot Kusini ambako aliyeibuka mshindi ni David Kosin wa chama cha KUP ambaye ameweza kuhifadhi kiti chake. Kumbuka ndiye mbunge wa sasa na ameweza kurejea pia kama mbunge wa eneo hilo, na aliweza kupata kura 28,225 na kuweza kumbwaga mgombea wa UDA Simon Kalekem ambaye aliweza kupata kura 15,298. Vile vile tuelekee katika eneo bunge la Kitui Rural, Kitui Rural katika kaunti ya Kitui ambako David Mboni Mwalika wa chama cha Wiper iliyoko katika muungano wa Azimio ameweza kuhifadhi kiti chake baada yake kupata kura 19,745 dhidi ya mpinzani wake Charles Nyamai wa UDA ambaye aliweza kutosheka na kura 10,178. Kumbuka uchaguzi uliweza kuandaliwa katika maeneo bunge hayo mane baada ya tume ya IEBC kuweza kupata dosari katika makaratasi ya kupigia kura wakati wa uchaguzi mkuu wa Agosti, na kupelekea tume hiyo kuweza kuahirisha uchaguzi huo hadi siku ya jana ambao ni tarehe 29 Agosti. Tayari wakazi wa maeneo hayo tayari wameshapata washindi ambao watakuwa wanasukuma gurudumu la uongozi kwa takriban miaka 5 inayokuja. Na sasa mtazamaji, hebu tuangazie hali ya uchaguzi hususan katika kaunti ya Mombasa ambapo shirika la kutetea haki za kibinadamu la Uraia limesema zoezi la uchaguzi katika kaunti ya Mombasa lilishuhudia visa vya mashambulizi dhidi ya waangalizi, wanahabari na hata wapiga kura. Wakizungumza katika kaunti hiyo ya Mombasa, wamesema pia viongozi wa kisiasa walikuwa wakiwaonga wapiga kura na pia kuwatisha ili waweze kupiga kura kwa faida ya mrengo fulani.
For the polling day, that is yesterday, and the deployment of IEBC temporary staff to the polling centers, dispatching of strategic and non-strategic voting materials. And number 2, we are also issuing a statement with regards to the conduct of political candidates vying for various elective, for particularly the gubernatorial election that is happening here in Mombasa. And the other point of our statement is on the election security management by the National Police Service, as well as the offenses that might have been conducted so far with regards to our observation. So as an institution, we have a team of 30 observers that have been deployed in 107 polling centers within Mombasa County. So significantly, of course, we are concerned about the low voter turnout. We are also taking this opportunity to call out on the voters within Mombasa County to come out in large numbers within the next couple of minutes so that they exercise their democratic right and vote for their preferred candidates, because the decision that is going to happen today is what is going to influence the lives of Kenyans and also the lives of the residents of Mombasa for the next 5 years. So this is very, very important that the electorates come out in large numbers and be able to vote. I think generally those are the issues that we have been able to observe within the election so far. That is at 3 p.m. today. Unless there are questions from your end, we'll be very happy to, me and my colleagues here will be very happy to respond to any questions that you might have, and we'll also be.
Tusonge mbele ambako macho yote sasa yanaangazia katika mahakama ya upeo ambako leo hii kuna tarajiwa kuandaliwa kikao cha kwanza cha kuweza kuweka mambo sawa kabla ya kuanza shughuli ya kusikiza kesi dhidi ya kesi ambayo iliweza kuwasilishwa katika mahakama hiyo kuweza kupinga matokeo yaliyotangazwa na tume ya IEBC kumtangaza rais mteule William Ruto kama mshindi katika uchaguzi wa Agosti 9 leo hii. Kulingana na msajili wa mahakama hiyo Ann Amadi, majaji wote watakuwepo kusikiliza wawakilishi wa Azimio One Kenya kuanzia One Kenya na wengine ambao wamewasilisha malalamishi katika mahakama hiyo ya upeo.
The process in a better way, because we have struggled with space, and some of you participated in the last process, so you have an idea what we're talking about. We also have had quite a number of interlocutory applications that have been filed by different parties. There are those who are asking to strike out the petitions. There are some who are seeking to be included as interested parties. There are those who want to be included as amicus curiae or friends of the court. There are some who are seeking different orders relating to the scrutiny of the votes. So these applications are being considered, and all the rulings will be delivered to the respective parties electronically. So we are going to have the hearings happen here at the Milimani Ceremonial Hall. All the 7 judges are expected to participate. Remember, in the last season, we are expecting that every team will be allowed only up to 4 lawyers. It is still being negotiated, and we're expecting that the guidelines will be provided anytime now.
Na mkumbuka ni kesi ambayo inatarajiwa kuendelea hadi ifikapo tarehe 5 mwezi wa 9, ambako majaji 7 wa mahakama ya upeo watakuwa wanatoa uamuzi wao kuhusiana na kesi hiyo. Na leo hii ni kikao cha kwanza tu ili kuweza kuhakikisha kwamba mambo yako sawa kuhusiana na kesi hiyo. Majaji hao 7 watakuwepo leo, na ni kikao ambacho kinatarajiwa kuanza wakati wote kuanzia sasa, kwa kuwa tulikuwa tumearifiwa kwamba ni kikao ambacho kitakuwa kinaanza mida ya saa 5 leo hii, na watakuwa tu wanawasikiliza mawakili kutoka pande zote ambazo zilikuwa zimewasilisha kesi hiyo, na vile vile kuweza kutoa majibu kuhusiana na kesi, kwa maana ya mirengo ya Azimio la Umoja ambao walikuwa wanapinga kuchaguliwa kwa rais mteule William Ruto, na upande wa Kenya Kwanza ambao unatetea ushindi wao, pamoja na mawakili wa IEBC ambao walikuwa wamewasilisha majibu kuhusiana na kesi hiyo ambayo ilikuwa imewasilishwa katika kesi hiyo. Na mtazamaji, kutusaidia tu kuweza katika uchambuzi wa kina kuhusiana na yale ambao Wakenya wanafaa kutarajia katika kikao hicho, na vile vile katika kesi hiyo ambayo itakuwa inaendelea hadi tarehe 5, ambapo tutakuwa tunajua mbivu na mbichi kuhusiana na kesi hiyo. Tuko naye wakili studioni ambaye atakuwa anatusaidia na uchanganuzi huu ili kuweza kupata ufahamu wa kina, na si mwingine ila ni Kelvin Mugwuku, wakili ambaye atakuwa anatusaidia katika mjadala huo. Hivyo basi karibu sana wakili.
Asante sana.
Sasa hebu tuanze na pengine nikitumia Kiingereza. Nitakuuliza tu after seeing the mini polls of Kakamega and Mombasa, what do you make of that polls? What are some of the impacts that the winners of that mini polls will make in the case before Supreme Court, and also the next leadership of Kenya?
Okay, thank you very much. As you have said, my name is Lawyer Kelvin Mugwuku, and I'm an advocate of the High Court of Kenya. Now, regarding the mini polls, number one, you see the issue, even the petitioners themselves. If you look at the Kenya Kwanza coalition, having been announced as having won the president-elect position, they were very anxious on the mini polls that were coming, because already you have shown us that you are capable of delivering a win. Yeah. Number two, regarding now the petition that is before the Supreme Court and how that might even come into affecting the same. remember that the petition was saying, the petitioner of Azimio la Umoja Kenya Moja Alliance, Azimio la Umoja Alliance, they were saying that maswali wanaouliza ni kuhusu uhaki ama haki. Wanasema kuwa uchaguzi wa tarehe 9, it was carried out through violence, intimidation, and bribery and or corruption. And therefore, now that the results are here, there was a mini poll, and actually we are seeing whatever happened. You can see that Azimio la Umoja has won the gubernatorial for Coast and as well Kakamega. Yeah. Now they are saying that, you see, now these people are already telling you that, okay, we were actually supposed even to win the other election. That is the belief that is there. Yeah. That we were actually to win even the other election, and we had more numbers, we had more governors, we had everything. It is only that there was corruption. So this one is actually giving them what I can call confidence, even in the petition that is before the court. That actually, if it is because that we have even filed this petition that now we can see that there is a accuracy. Because now they are not disputing those outcomes. Yeah. Yes.
Let's talk about voter apathy in those mini polls. We saw a lot of Kenyans. We didn't saw a lot of Kenyans coming out to participate in the elections yesterday. What can you attribute to that?
You see, people have already, number one, you remember that it is not, an election is not only about Kenya Kwanza and Azimio la Umoja. That is not, you have, an election is a process. It involves many people. It involves even the voters. So if, for example, a candidate for Kenya Kwanza felt that they have already won the election, they might as well say now, even if we lose that one for the government area, there's nothing much about it. We have the government. So we don't even need to move out and vote. So that is number one. Number two, if at all, the mini polls were carried out fairly and without violence, then you could see people were not even, normally people move out when they are confident. So they were confident of the winning, but they were not confident of what will come out of it mini polls. So many people avoided, but they knew what is going on. The supporters are there. They are still supporting Azimio. They are still supporting, whether they voted in the mini polls or not. They consider, because first of all, this is a mini poll. We had called, and I don't think even the law anticipated a situation where we have a mini poll in the midst of a general election. So many people did not, I can actually attribute that to, many people did not find it very necessary to postpone an election which was supposed to be carried on 9th, and then let them come back and start the election process. Many people had traveled, you remember. Yeah. Probably they were not registered to vote, they were not registered in those areas. They were to travel to vote. And now they are back to work. You can't call them back again for a mini poll. They are done on 9th.
And then let's talk about the Kakamega gubernatorial aspirant, yes, for UDA.
Yes.
Not UDA, for Kenya Kwanza, Cleophas Malala. Yeah. He's already conceded defeat as we speak.
Yes.
Yet the official results have not been announced by IEBC. Yes. What can you make of that?
That action? Is a good thing, to concede defeat, and in politics it is about strategies, number one. So if it is about conceding defeat, these people are no longer afraid, number one, and they want to show you that they are ready to accept whatever outcome. We are not fighting. We are not, we are not going to court like the rest of our opponents. So that's a good thing for the Kenya Kwanza, to concede defeat and show us that, okay, even in court, if we lose, we can then concede. We accept the outcome of the petition.
And then let's jump into the petition before our Supreme Court. Today, anytime from now, we are expecting the judges to conduct the pre-trial conference. To a Kenyan, to a person from outside this country, what are the activities expected to be witnessed in court today? And what is the meaning of pre-trial conference?
Now, you see, as I had mentioned earlier, election is a process. And this process does not end after the voting. Even in court, it's still the election process, because we have to find out whatever that the questions, we call them questions. Even if you look at the Constitution, it actually calls them questions as to the validity of the president elect. So these questions, they are coming in form of that petition. So for us to be able to move, there are different people. It is not one person. It is not only Raila Odinga or Azimio Moja who has filed the petition. There are other people, voters. There are other non-governmental organizations. Petition. I think there are actually Raila Odinga and 8 others.
Yeah.
So before we begin, we cannot just begin. We need to come before we start the process of hearing this, because the Constitution provides that after a petition is filed, the Supreme Court must. It is not okay. Actually, it is a must. It shall hear the petition within 14 days. So we need to start the whole thing. How do we begin? Because we begin with Raila, maybe it takes 4 days. We begin with another one, it takes another how many days. It will end up eating the whole month or 2 or 3 or even years.
Yeah.
So the best thing is to sit down. Let us have the people who are on record. These are the advocates, and then we have the bar and the bench. We have the judges and we have the advocates.
Yeah.
So you tell us, as the judges, we are prepared. This is what we have as petition. We are so and so and so. And then the judges will tell us now what we expect in this petition. Number one, the pre-trial conference is to bring or to consolidate all these petitions. Number one, that we expect that they become one presidential petition, such that we don't have to hear differently. We hear this other one another day. So that we consolidate them, and we have all the parties in an orderly manner. Yeah. That we have the petitioner and all the respondent. And then we look at we also confirm filing of the response that we confirm that, for example, Kenya Kwanza, we confirm that they have filed their response and all that they are ready to proceed. And also the petitioners to confirm that they are also ready to proceed. And confirmation of documents, court documents must adhere to certain rules.
Yeah.
So we don't want a process where we begin and then a few days later, we realize that certain documents did not follow certain rules, and now we have to go back, and so we have to confirm, have they conformed with the required regulations? Are they in accordance with the Constitution and other written laws? Number 3, there are something called interlocutory applications. There are those applications which have already been made. They are not necessarily the petition, but they must be heard and determined before the entire petition is determined. These ones are dealt with in the pre-trial conference before. So, for example, someone might be making an application as a voter to dismiss the entire petition of Azimio la Umoja. So, if the effect of that application is to dismiss the entire petition, and that application has been made, then we must determine that when we move on to hearing the whole petition, because they might be arguing that it must be dismissed on grounds of point of law. So if it is a point of law, then there is no essence of hearing the whole thing, because we might dismiss it at the beginning. So we have to conduct a pre-trial conference, confirm that documents are in order, and then we'll be able to begin. And then we'll be actually during that pre-trial conference, the judges, and actually that is the work of the Chief Justice and and other strict judges, they will give what we call court directions as to the petition. Directions.
And then the amicus curiae.
Yes.
To a layman that is a friend to the court.
Yes.
What are some of the qualities or some of the requirements for one to be an amicus? Because to many people, many people usually had amicus during this kind of cases, like the presidential petition.
Yes.
So as a lawyer, what are some of the requirements that one has to possess before being admitted as an amicus?
Actually, I want to mention is that people term that as legalist in law, but it is a friend of the court. And I must mention that actually I can say that all advocates are friends of the court because they are officers of the court. They must be friends of the court. But now what is happening here in such a petition for you, when you are applying, you must be adjoined. When you are adjoined in a petition, you must have, who are you? A party to the petition. What kind of party? So as a friend to the court, you are saying that, okay, probably your interest is not necessarily in the entire process, or you are not even a candidate, for example.
Yes.
But you possess, for example, such knowledge, or you have been, For example, you have been participating in the electoral process for years. You are someone who is known. For example, I had there is this I think is a retired judge from Tanzania who came and led the Jew list in all that. So you can observe the process. You can make, you possess that knowledge. Yeah. Number two, you might be requesting to be enjoined as a friend of the court because, for example, Law Society of Kenya, we are the ones who regulate the law. So if there is an issue with the law, we also have interest there. The outcome might affect the entire thing. For example, we might argue that the outcome of this thing might even bring other issues, other critical jurisprudence, which will affect other entities, such as non-governmental organizations, which, for example, deal with the activities of human rights and all that. They might apply on those grounds. So you are a friend of the court. You are coming to help the court determine and answer these questions that have been listed in this petition. And that is not for everybody to be enjoined. But you can be a friend of the court from everybody. Everyone now will be online and in social media. Yeah. Being a lawyer and acting very smart.
Now
they are not on record.
Now we saw some of the petitioners hiring about 50 lawyers to represent them in that petition.
Yes.
But the court made it clear that only four lawyers will be making submissions.
Yes.
in the case.
Yes.
Will that reduce the substance of the submission from both sides?
I don't think that would be a problem because, if you can afford lawyers, that's okay. But they must agree on how to. That's the purpose of that pre-trial conference. Again, because you see, if I can afford 1,000 lawyers, it doesn't mean the court must listen to 1,000 lawyers. You organize yourself. Whatever 996 was to tell the court, have it told to these 4. Organize yourself. It's like we have a book. It's 1,000 pages. Why don't we have a summary? Because we are trying to save time. Why don't we have a summary of it? So it doesn't mean we have lost content of the book because we have a brief.
And why hire 50 lawyers for that case? And only 4 will be making their submission.
Number one, because you can afford. Because a lawyer is not, for example, handling a presidential petition is not cheap. So you must consider cost. So they must be affording. That is why they can hire. Number two, lawyers are different, and the law actually is not something that can be said to be tied. Every lawyer might have a different view, a different opinion. If we come together, we might, better hands. If we are more, we might come up and dismantle the whole thing. Rather than one, either way, even if we are fighting, and that is why we are calling it a court battle. Yeah. If you are 4 and we are 16, we might get more points than you, even if it was physical.
Let's move forward. Now, as a lawyer, what are some of the possible outcomes that you anticipate in that case?
Well, number one, you see the petition. I told you the Constitution terms it as questions as to the validity. Kipengele cha 140, section 1, article 140 of the Constitution of Kenya 2010. So these questions, they are brought by a person. If you look at that article 140 clause 1, they are brought by, for example, as the mere petitioner Raila Odinga has brought these questions. So number one, I expect the court to hear and determine their issues, because unasikia Raila analia every day. What we want is justice. What we want is to get answers. So if the Supreme Court has been tasked, because if you look at the jurisdiction of the Supreme Court under Article 163, you realize that it is the only court in the land which has exclusive original jurisdiction to hear and determine presidential election petitions. So they must hear it. I've told you it requires, if a petition is filed within 14 days. So, and there are certain things that we expect, because if Raila Odinga and Azimio Umoja coalition are arguing that actually we won the election and it was manipulated, there was bribery, it was not accurate, and accuracy. And I want to mention this and make it very clear. The Constitution has severally and the electoral processing system repeated the word accuracy. If you look at those articles, you will see accuracy everywhere. Accuracy. And that's why I'm telling people, even this issue of 0.1, 0.1, let the court determine. Because if it is accuracy, it is accurate. There's nothing like accurate can be less with a little. It must be an accurate process. So let us know the truth. And it cannot be accurate if we have a body that is mandated to conduct this election, that is actually subjected by the constitution to be accurate, to be accountable, to not be involved in bribery, corruption, and all that, and intimidation. Yes. And then we cannot be having such a body, and then we have the same body, different parts. One part is saying, I'm the body. The other one is saying, I can do without you. It cannot work like that. We must get where the truth is. So I expect the court to hear and determine, why is the chairman saying this? Why are the commissioners saying this? Because either way, even if it was you, you must get the answer. Because if the constitution, it says, let it be simple, transparent. Simple and transparent cannot be, oh, we had secret meetings. Oh, we had what. We must know the truth. So I expect the court to hear. And the outcomes are, it says that it is going to reinstate or uphold the petition. Let us begin with the petition, because it is the petitioner's petition. Yeah. It will either uphold that petition and say that actually we are invalidating the presidential or the declaration of the president-elect of the Republic of Kenya. So, or number two, if it invalidates, the constitution provides that of course we will go back to there will be a rerun and we will go back to fresh elections. Mm-hmm. So I expect that, or they can even decide, okay, to declare the petitioner the winner. They can declare, they have the power to declare the petitioner the winner actually. Because the constitution says, the same constitution, Article 140. It says that the decision is final. So if they hear and actually determine that there was illegality, there was what, they can go ahead and make further declaration that actually the petitioner was the winner. And then that is a new jurisprudence. Now you can come to risk and all that, because you see people have already started celebration and all that. And that's why I think we have to wait for the decision of the court. So they can uphold the petition, say that it is invalid. We go back to court, to elections. They can actually say the petitioner is the winner, or they can say the president-elect won free and fair. And then the president-elect of the Republic of Kenya will go on to be sworn in.
Then during when IEBC was presenting their submission to the courts, we saw Wafula Chebukati, the chairman, signing affidavits, and in that affidavit there is some claims that came out in that affidavit, like some of the government officials wanted him to moderate the presidential results, so that so as to force first a rerun or to make Raila Odinga the president. And he cited that the former Busia Senator Amos Wako even went ahead and told them that this is something that as government officials they have been doing previously. So when you hear such sentiments coming from someone who was an Attorney General for the Republic of Kenya, what can you say about the previous elections of Kenya as a country?
You see, first of all, even before I get to whatever Amos Wako said, I am very shocked to hear the same from Wafula Chebukati. Because, you see, if you look at the general principles of an electoral system, as provided for by the Constitution, it is very clear, and Wafula Chebukati knows it very well. If you look at Article 81 of the Constitution, it says that the process must be efficient, transparent, accurate, neutral. You know, we don't even want, it mentions a lot of things. So we don't want secrets. So number one, if you held some meetings, you did not disclose. Number two, how can we be sure that you did not hold other meetings which you have not disclosed? Because you are disclosing this after the petition. You never told us, okay, now, even before I declare this, there is a problem here, A, B, C, D, and the constitution requires this and this. And then we will be able to know what is going on. But what you did, you just kept us waiting for the announcement and all that. You never told us that probably you were waiting and looking at the screens, and these people were holding those meetings. So number one, that places a lot of questions in the entire petition. Actually, I don't even think that affidavit favors anyone else rather than, I don't want to say it favors me, but if you are saying that you are holding meetings, so it is not necessarily that it was good meetings for us. It could as well mean good meetings for the other. So you would have maybe held meetings, and now you are disclosing one, but the other you are covering. So that's a problem. In terms of your question, in terms of the previous election, if it is true whatever Amos Wako is saying, then he also must tell us what are the implications, what did they do, because we must be suffering a lot of consequences which we are raising today. If that is what has been happening, then we can as well see whatever Azimio Moja is saying, that actually we are not we cannot continue like this as a country where we are having elections. So if that is what has been happening, then there must be a problem somewhere. And that raises a lot of issues, and that's why I'm saying this petition might actually bring other jurisprudence. Like we must find a way even to have criminal issues which are people must be prosecuted.
And then we are at the Supreme Court because a section of the IEBC commissioners, four for that matter, decided to disown the results that was announced by Wafula Chebukati. Does the law of Kenya allows the chairman to announce the presidential results without consulting other commissioners?
You see, number one, the decision to announce, and even if you look at that petition, Azimio Moja is arguing that the decision was made unilaterally. So it is one-sided decision. So there is no transparency, because the other commissioners they are arguing they did not know whatever was done there. So I don't think it was fair, because if we are conducting a fair election, why must we be divided? Why can't we sit down as a commission? Because it is one body. So the hand will not say it does not need the leg. They must work together. So why is it that they could not sit down and agree? Why is it that it was necessary for Wafula Chebukati to proceed and announce it? What were they waiting for? Why did it get to that point when some commissioners are not aware of whatever is going on? So I don't think that was fair. I don't think that was transparent. And I don't think that was accountable. Because for you to be accountable, you must tell us, okay, this is what I'm going to announce on behalf of the commission. It is one commission. It is not two commissions. Otherwise, the chairman will announce, the other one will announce.
Okay. Now, in the event Supreme Court, or in the event we witnessed what happened in 2017, where the Supreme Court annulled the presidential results and forced the country to go back to elections. Do you think IEBC, as currently constituted, will be fit to conduct the repeat polls?
Well, number one, IEBC, I don't have a problem with the how it is constituted, but if that is a question that must actually be raised even in the petition, because if the court will then declare that the elections were conducted, for example, that it was illegal, there was corruption, there was bribery, there was intimidation and all that, and then they are nullified, then you see it is very possible that petitioners will not believe the same body to conduct a fresh election and rule probably in their favor. That is one issue, which maybe even the judges must address and tell us whether maybe a new body will be constituted, but that one must be done in accordance with the law. You know, the law provides how the IEBC is constituted, how they are appointed and all that. But number two, if then the issues which are raised does not raise any, for example, doubts on the individual persons, but the process, if the individual persons are fair and they are declared fit to conduct an election, then I would not have a problem with the IEBC conducting that election. But it is a risky affair, again.
And then we saw John Githongo signing an affidavit explaining that someone informed him about how the IEBC servers were penetrated by an outsider who made some changes in the presidential results. What can you say about that affidavit in terms of how it's going to impact in this case before Supreme Court?
You see, if that is a ground of the petition, number one, that the results actually are not true because they were tampered with. There are forms which are tampered with, there are forms which the system was accurate and forms were fixed there. But that is just evidence. The affidavit is supporting the grounds on that petition. So the fact that you have raised issues in the affidavit does not necessarily mean that you have proved those issues that you have raised. So we need to know, how do you know, for example, where is the evidence that you are sure that this is the correct form, but this was the one that was? And who are these people? Number two, I don't know whether you have interrogated them or they were with you or you are working together or what was happening, because if you knew all the way, and then they even saying that these people have been working a scheme to steal the elections that began way before with these hackers. So you have to tell us, you know that is just an allegation. I can term it as an allegation at this stage, unless they have other evidence that can actually corroborate and hold that to make it watertight. But in the meantime, that is just an allegation. But I think an allegation for 19 hackers and 2 Kenyans, it's a serious one. We need to know what was happening.
And then lastly, being a lawyer, I strongly believe you've gone through all the petitions before Supreme Court.
Yes.
What can you say? And I know that is the ultimate decision of the 7-judge bench. They will be making that ruling. But from where you sit, do you see a possibility where Kenyans will be forced to go back to the polls to elect the president?
You see, that question, I will address it as let me take it as risk analysis. Because if the court actually rules that the president-elect was declared illegally, or that there was illegalities, or the elections were not conducted fairly, then definitely we will have to go back to polls. But that one raises a lot of tension, because people have already started celebrating. You know what is happening? They have, you know, this whole thing. There have been new mini polls on the way, which have determined otherwise. So now we have a nation that is under tension, because you see, the economy, number one, is scary already, and then we are being told, okay, there is a possibility of going back, which is, you know, you cannot even ask me whether there is a possibility. The possibility is in the Constitution. The Constitution says if the Supreme Court determines that it was invalid, then fresh elections will be held within 60 days. So it's 50% actually. It's like, it's gambling. Either way, we can have, we may not have. But if you look at the evidence that is being brought there, I think let us be patient. Let us wait for the court to determine. Because one thing that people must understand is that actually the Supreme Court is with this battle. It is no longer even an issue with IBC. It is with the Supreme Court. We are going to get decisions. You know, for example, when Maraga ruled that we have to go back to the polls, many people never expected that. They never expected anything like that. And actually we had to, even though the other side actually evaded all that, but we did fresh polls. So there is a possibility of having new fresh jurisdiction, which is not even whatever that is expected there. They might make new rules. And I urge the Chief Justice, Mwanzo, and the other judges to show us, you know, we cannot live under the same, joking with the same, you know, even if it is soccer. We must play smart. Let us hear what they have. I heard the other day James Olengo was saying that they have bullets and all that and smoking guns. Let them shoot the guns. Let us hear what they have. Let us hear Mother Kwame what is going to say. If we have to come up with new jurisdiction, let us have it. What is wrong with making history?
And then it is a requirement for IEBC chair to be a lawyer. Why is it so?
Because number one, you see, whatever you're doing here, how can you, let me ask you, if you're conducting a federal election, then all those issues are removed are actually under the law. So you have to understand the law. Let me ask you, why would you be, you can be, let me ask you, you can be a journalist, for example, but you can also be a lawyer. Is that true?
Yes.
It is very possible. But you cannot tell me that a journalist can understand the whole presidential petition, can understand the process as it is, can understand the requirements of a general presidential election.
Okay. Thank you so much. Okay.
And then before we are done, I think I have to make something very clear. People are addressing William Ruto, or the president-elect, as the president-elect. I want to make it very clear, even to those lawyers who are answering this petition, if they can hear me. Please, the president-elect, it doesn't matter who he is, whether it is William Ruto or whoever will be, even for the years to come, even for purposes of, let us have some decorum. The president-elect is not the president-elect. It is the president-elect of the Republic of Kenya. A position that is well captured in the Constitution. Someone who is acknowledged by the Constitution. So you don't just say it's the president-elect of where? You know, is a person who is actually, you know, you had the other day, you were saying that there will be transition power. So he is someone who is already at the edge of the power. So you cannot just address him in court as a, you know, the president-elect did the ABCD. Please, for purposes of respect, for purposes of the respondents and their attorneys and the Kinorengos and all that, I want to hear them address the president-elect as the president-elect of the Republic of Kenya. So James Alengo, I don't want to hear the president and who are the others. The president-elect did, you know, that is very disrespectful. Even if it is a petition, let us address him as the president-elect of the Republic of Kenya, unless the court determines otherwise. He remains the president-elect of the Republic of Kenya.
Thank you so much for coming. Thank you so much for your insights as pertaining to this case before Supreme Court.
Thank you very much.
Naam, huyo amekuwa ni Kelvin Mugwuku, wakili akitusaidia tu katika uchanganuzi wa kesi hii ambayo inatarajiwa kung'oa nanga leo hii. Leo hii ikiwa ndio kikao cha kwanza cha kuweza tu kuweka mambo sawa na kupisha kesi yenyewe kuweza kuanza kusikilizwa hiyo kesho. Na kumbuka ni kesi ambayo itakuwa inaendelea hadi tarehe 5 mwezi wa Septemba, ambapo majaji 7 wa mahakama kuu wakiongozwa na jaji mkuu Martha Koome watakuwa wanatoa uamuzi wao kuhusiana na kesi ambayo iliwasilishwa katika mahakama hiyo na muungano wa Azimio kupinga matokeo ambayo yalitangazwa na tume huru ya uchaguzi na mipaka nchini Kenya IEBC kuweza kumtangaza rais mteule wa taifa la Kenya kuwa mshindi katika kinyang'anyiro hicho. Hivyo basi tutakuwa tunafuatilia kesi hiyo katika mahakama ya upeo na vile vile katika uchaguzi ambazo ziliweza kufanywa katika kaunti ya Mombasa na Kakamega na maeneo bunge mane nchini Kenya, na tutakuwa tunakuletea taarifa za kina katika matangazo yetu ya hapo baadaye. Hivyo basi kutoka kwangu, kwa niaba ya kikosi kizima ambacho kiliweza kushiriki kufanikisha matangazo haya, na kutakia siku njema.